Okay, so here's the demo house that I'm working on right now. Um, there's a lot of things about this, and that is definitely demo. If I was to convert this to a drawing, I've got to put a few more hours in cleaning mine up. And let me show you where my mistakes are. One, I don't ever want to put two banks of drawers side by side. It just looks weird. It's a visual thing. But you do need drawers in a kitchen. You need to put banks of drawers in. You'd be yelled at if you left drawers out. Okay, now the way these cabinets are, these are also drawers that are in these. But if I tip my plan a little bit, and hopefully you've looked inside, there are no shelves in these. When they're purchased, there will be a shelf in the middle, but it's just adds too much memory to show those. Now, if you do have an account with Revit City, you can download much more elaborate cabinets that have the shelves and the doors. You can make them open and close, but your memory goes through the roof, okay? So the size of your file just gets really, really large. As I look at this, I've also got this high boy here that has a double oven in it. I was talking about this earlier when we did our work triangle. I changed out the range. The range was, if I have a cooktop, then the double oven makes sense. If I'm doing a range slash stove, that's 3 ovens. Good night. And now I'm back to doing, I have a commercial bakery instead of a commercial cafe. So things like that I would change, but it gives you an idea to see how they go. And I need to probably show you how to put in the double. How many are doing double ovens? Okay, so you need to see how to put it inside the casing, right? So I'm gonna take the ovens out then. Can't see that. So I'll just take those. So that's what it looks like without the ovens. I'm gonna take the dishwasher out as well, so that I can show you how to do those, okay? Now, when you're looking at adding those appliances, especially the double oven situation, you want to do that in 2D view or plan view, which is 2D, mainly because if you try and place, some of the appliances are assigned by the plane, meaning P-L-A-N-E, what plane you select, and you might get a kitchen sink on a wall, or the stove underneath the floor. You just gotta make sure you know where you're placing. So the double ovens, go in and load that component. And I'm gonna go into the library so you can see where to find those. Those are in our specialty equipment under domestic. And I usually go high end because if I'm gonna do a custom home, why short it up? And I'm gonna go down to, there's a oven built-in double. Every version of Revit, they changed this name a little bit. In version 10, it was double oven built-in, and I still use that oven because I liked the way it looked. But that's what it looks like, okay? So I'm gonna bring that in. I've got it loaded in this one, I think, already. That's okay. So here comes the oven. Again, look at the cursor. The little plus is the back of the appliance. Spacebar rotates. And then when I place it, I'm not going to try and put it in here. It's just not. I'm going to put it out to the outside. Okay. And I do that anytime I place a cabinet. I don't try and put it by the wall because occasionally I'll make a change of the setting by accident, and I might try and put a cabinet here, but it goes to the end of the wall down here. And it's just easier if I have a little more control and not have to worry about thinking. The more design becomes habitual or muscle memory, if you will, the better money you make because you work faster, and working fast is great. Okay, now before I do anything, I'm gonna go back into 3D on this cabinet, and then you want to do the same thing for your dishwasher. That's the wrong thing. Look at that. That's not even the right thing. I gotta find where that went. Somewhere. Oh, hey, thanks, man. I lost my double oven built-in. Either that or I turned it into that. That's probably what I did. So go back and grab it again. Okay, now I'm concerned. That is not what's supposed to be there. I may have screwed up my whole file here. Okay, watch teacher squirm. Watch teacher cry. Watch teacher get up and die. That is my goal in life, by the way. To die in class. Why does that say it's a C? Oh my gosh. There we go. Got a little glitch. All right, there's my double oven. Now here's the problem with placing in 3D. I don't know where I'm at on the floor. Sometimes you get lucky. It's kind of a bad thing. Now I'm rotated wrong, but I'll fix that now. What you need to do with the built-in dishwasher, which is this guy here, and the built-in oven compartment, is you need to measure the openings. Okay, kind of important. So we do modify, and you cannot measure them in 3D. There's zero way to measure in 3D because you have a z-axis, and measurement is a 2-axis process. Makes sense? The line is between 2 points, right? If we were driving a spaceship, it'd be a different thing. We'd use coordinates. So how do I measure something vertically on the wall that I can't see in the plan view? Section view, very good. Star on the forehead. So that's what these section cuts are for. Now, you are more than welcome to move them off the plan. Just don't delete them, okay? Then you can move them back in place so you can see what you're looking at. Go to view. And here's my little nightmare, okay? So first of all, this oven is taller than this opening. In fact, my opening goes down inside here a little bit. So I'm going to measure that opening width, and I'm going to write that puppy dog down because I will not remember that it's 2 foot 3.5 inches. That's a weird number. And then I'm going to measure the height, and I'm going to write that down. That height's actually down into here. So see where that line ends. And so it's about 3 foot 3 and a, yeah, we'll call it 3 foot 3. Okay, so now I get that. Now the next thing I've got to look at is what's the size of this? Well, the oven, I don't have to measure because I can go into edit type and I can look at the size is 30 inches wide, okay? So I can see that. If I wanted to, that's pretty much all I need. Well, 30 inches is not 2 foot 3. Yeah. What are you trying to put in? I gave you 6 things to put in. Which one are you working on? The tub, the toilet, the cabinets, the... Okay, you have to have your cabinets first. You can't do that till you get the cabinets. You got to do your base cabinets first. Okay. They're in the template. If you click on the where you put in the go architecture components, and then up in the properties, you can pick they're in alphabetical order. So I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. Hang on, everybody. Okay, so when I look at this oven and I look at the sizes here, the width is 2 foot 5 and 7/8. I'm kind of okay with that, but my opening is definitely not that. Okay, the depth, as many as you want in your kitchen. It's your choice. It's your design. That's why you have to have the handout to look at where they go. Okay, so then the depth, that's about 2 feet, same depth as my cabinet, so I'm good at that. The height is 4 feet plus some inches. So this is a really tall appliance that I've got to place and get in the right position. Okay, so I've got quite a bit of work to do on that. Okay, so if I know my sizes now for my oven, and I make a little quick jog of that, approximately, so I know where it's at. So then I come back to my section view and I look at this cabinet. This cabinet has to be modified in order to accommodate that oven. So I click on that, I go to edit type. And right here, all of this stuff can be modified. Now, it's a 30-inch one is what it says, but if I look at my width, it says it's 30 inches, so okay. But I notice I've created several others in the process of working on this that you would keep doing it. You start with one, and you just modify it. So to modify them, again, remember you then duplicate, and then give it a new name. So I'm going to take out the 2, just means it's a copy. All right, and so I'm going to give it a new name. I'm going to do just to add double oven to the name there, so it's different from what I already have. This is where I got a 30-inch. Okay, now the next thing I want to look at here is the height of the base of the built-in, and this is kind of this is really the critical point right here. So if I'm going to slide this over just a little bit so you can see, there's a door right here, and it doubles up, so the base of that open is down here, which is what's called the toe kit. So underneath your base cabinets, if you look at them at home, it comes straight down and jogs in. It's for your toes. So you get really up close to the cabinet. And that's mainly because that was requested by lots and lots of housekeepers over the years, that when they're working, it's kind of nice to just kind of lean against the countertop if they're doing canning and like old school kitchen stuff. And we've kept with that. It also makes it a little easier to clean because things aren't going to get all the way to the floor, then drip a little bit out where you can clean them with. So we've kept the toe kit. Has anybody done any canning? I know there's no bottles this year, but so it's nice to be right up close, right? It's kind of helps. So if I change the height here, and I'm going to raise that up, I guess let's go, I'm going to go 10 inches up with it. Once I make a change, I'm going to change this up again. And I'm going to make my width here, I'm going to make it a little wider here as well. Even though it says 30, I'm going to go 32. And I hit OK. Now I've changed that, and my base is a little higher. Still not great, but it's a little higher up. The top here I need to change. I should change that was in there. So the built-in height is only 3 feet, and I need it to be 4 foot something. So I'm going to change this to a 4 and apply that. When you get the apply, oops, give me an error. Okay, now I've got my opening is a better size. So, and that's probably a little too big on that. It's like shoved up in this the top area. Let's go, go a little bit smaller so I can fit it in there. Okay, so I've adjusted my opening height. Now I'm ready to put everything inside the box. Okay, so I'm going to start with the stove here, even though it's rotated wrong. I'm going to start with this. There's an elevation from, it's on the main floor. I need to lift it up. Okay, so it goes in the cabinet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just bring it up. I think I did 10 inches. I got distracted. 10 inches. So now it's a floating. Okay, and it will stay floating forever now. Once you set that, it floats. Then jump back to my plan view here, and then rotate it, because that's just what I'm going to do. So 90-degree rotation there. Make sure you get as exact as possible. If you need to, start over, because that's much nicer than make a mistake. So you rotate that around. It's a little off, I think. Okay, now my cabinet's right here where this is going. So now I can use the align tool. To the inside of the cabinet, there's the oven alignment. So that fits in there. And now I'm going to take the front of the cabinet and the back of the oven door. So you have to kind of get a feel for what the elements are. The dishwasher is the same way. The door of the dishwasher sticks out in front of the cabinets. Otherwise, you'll never get it open. Slides back in there. And then I go back and check. Always check to make sure things are where they're supposed to be. It won't ever be an exact fit. It's a symbol. Okay? It's a symbol. So that's where that gets in play. Okay? Dishwasher the same way. I'm going to do that one on the first floor again. Bring in the dishwasher. The dishwasher that fits is in your template, which is kind of what I hope to get things to go. We're moving really quite quickly, so I'm kind of excited about that. Do a component, place a component, and I'm going to go find a dishwasher. That's some D's. Right there. And you should have, you have 2 or 3 in your templates. Define dishwasher. Sounds like the dentist is here. Root canal system. Okay, how many dishwashers are in your template? I keep adding them over and over again. Did you find one? It's going to be no comment. There's 3 of them. Good. Okay, that's what you should have. Okay. When you're looking at the sizes on these, the height is the last one. So when you look at a series of dimensions, like 24 by 24 by 34, the first value is always the horizontal or X value. The second one is always the Y value. The third value is always the Z value. And in our world, we walk on X and Y and our heads are the Z. Okay. So if you buy a door, if you buy a window, if you go buy a box, they're all sized the same way. That's a universal constant. And it's alphabetical, X, Y, Z. Makes it nice. Okay. You thought math was all arbitrary. Crazy thing. So for this one, I usually use the smaller one because it fits in the cabinet a little better. And really, they're not much bigger than this. So I'm just going to rotate this around again. And I'm just going to place it right here in front of where the opening for that would be. Now this one just shoves in. It's a lot easier to align than the double oven. The double oven's a lot more work. So back to modify, align. I want to line it up with this opening. And if you can look, my opening still isn't quite wide enough. You can make it wider. This will fit anyway. So I'm just going to take the back, shove that in there, and I'm going to use the side and line that up. And that didn't quite do what I wanted. Let's do a line and just shove that in there. And then the front, and then undo and pull this out. So this is the door right here. There's a little double line on that you want to put in there. And that will get your dishwasher in. Again, you can modify the cabinet as well. I'm not going to go through all that right now. If you want to make it exact, you've got to have a notebook with you. And if you need a notebook, let me know and I'll get you one. If you need something to take notes on, because you just have to keep notes. And there's lots and lots of notes. When we get to doing color, you're going to want to keep meticulous notes about what color. And that's next week. We're going to do, or next week you're doing carpeting and walls on the main floor. And so that's going to be a little bit more fun because now your house is start becoming what you want to be as we start creating that. And you're going to get a little taste of that right now. Okay. All right. Does everyone need a quick break before we go to the next phase? Yep. Okay. How much time do you need? How about if I give you till 10 after? Okay. We're going to take a break until 10 after, and then we're going to put the countertops in. And so I can make sure everybody's ready to go on that. And so not terribly hard to do, but we want to do it. In just 1 second. Okay, let me pause this. We'll be back at 10, just a minute. Okay, we're going to put a countertop on, and as I was saying, they're typically 1.5 inches thick. However, there's a trend going on right now, especially during COVID, for people to make their own countertops out of concrete. And you might have seen these on YouTube. It's not a uncommon thing. It's kind of a rustic thing. That means that then those countertops are 4 inches thick because concrete that's less than that cracks. It needs at least to be 4 inches thick. You can maybe get by a 3 if you put some wire in there, but 2-inch concrete just cracks. Sorry. Sounds like a root canal. Maybe you never have one of those. Brush your teeth and floss often. Okay. All right. So the problem with doing a concrete countertop is concrete crumbles. So if you use it to make cookies, you get little rocks in your cookies. So you have to seal it. And there's liquid sealers you can get, and you have to do it quite often, like every 6 months, because it wears off. And as long as you're willing to do that, that's great. So that's just one of the downsides of concrete. We can use slate, we can use granite, you can use marble, you can use butcher block. You may know what butcher block is. What's butcher block?
Like the box.
Yeah, so and it's on end grain. So we tip it in so it's the length of the grain runs with it. So butcher block works. Nice thing about butcher block, you just sand it down. You need it, refinish it. You don't stain it. You shouldn't stain it. Stain's slightly toxic. You can use shellac. You know what shellac's made from? Beetle guts. We grind up a bunch of beetles and they make shellac out of it. And it's edible. So it's food safe. Yay, you switch. The better way to go is with mineral oil and beeswax. And I just lost the internet. How great. Hope it comes back. So that's what we rub into the wood to keep it food safe. Other materials are things like corian, which is a synthetic marble. It looks marbly. You can also do formica, which is really the cheap. That's what's on your tables. Is formica. You can get any color, any pattern. Great stuff, but knives scratch it, so it's not something you cut on, and that's what most of you probably have in your homes. That stuff, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe some of you probably have granite. Some of you might have some corian. Corian is the preferred middle class style. Starter homes tend to have formica. Then we get the customs. The other materials come to play. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this island first. Oh, suck. This will be one of those days. Okay. Here we go. The island is right here. Now, the island that I have is all it is cabinets, base cabinets lined up. That's all any island is. If you want, you can double it up, which would mean you can mirror, and I'll just show a quick one here. You could do 2 cabinets back to back. That's become kind of popular. It makes a very large island. I mean, it's really big, okay? That's kind of the trend right now. It makes the island become basically a kitchen table, if you will. And you're welcome to do that. In this case, I'm not going to. Yes, sir.
I don't have the, it's only 3D.
It's all in 3D. Your whole plan's in 3D?
Yeah.
Hang on. Okay, ready? This is your project. Sweet. Okay, easy fixes, right? So far, nothing stumped me yet. Bookshelf almost good. Okay. So to create these, whenever we create anything that's horizontal, we then use a floor. Okay. Weird, right? So if you will, within whatever you're, hey, let's do it. Let's go architecture and click on floor. Now I created one for the other classroom and redo this, so I'm not going to use what I have here because you don't have that. Inside, you're going to find some generics. The generic 12-inch and generic 12-inch field. I don't care which one you use. I'm going to use the generic 12-inch because it's less work. Okay, so we're going to make a countertop. And that's the fun of it, right? And this is the island's easy one. The islands and peninsulas do not need to have backsplashes. Backsplash is what goes against the wall to seal it. So we click on this and then we go edit type. And the first thing we're going to do is duplicate it. Always duplicate. We give it a name and then wipe the whole name out. Kitchen, and I'm going to spell this the island so it's different. And what material do you guys want to use on this island? Granite. Okay, what color granite? There are currently available in Utah. There are 96 colors of granite you can get, including turquoise, teal, pink, white, and snowball. And snowball comes out of Alaska. And I think they just named it Snowball because it comes out of Alaska, because it's still white. But anyway, so we're just gonna put granite on this. And if I knew what color I was using, I'd put the color with this name as well. I can always come back and rename it. Okay. So knowing the color helps you pick things quicker, especially as we move into doing paints. Okay. So I hit OK on that. And then we're gonna go edit the structure. Now the structure is pretty blah. There's nothing here. Okay. So the first thing that changes is the thickness. And the thickness I'm going to use is 1.5 inches. Make sure you put the inch mark in. Super duper important. Okay. And then we have a category. Okay, the category is blank right now. When you click it, it will highlight and you'll get a little box. It's a little teeny tiny box with 3 little dots. And if we click on those 3 little dots, it opens up your first exposure, kind of, to the library. This is the materials library. Now, this is actually, for those at home, this is one of those libraries I said you might not want to download because of the size of it. I'll have a fix for you to get at least a starter one, and I'll put that in tomorrow. I don't want to give it to you now because it takes a while to download it. But if you need it at home, I'll have a fix for you, just like with the missing libraries. Okay. Now, if I go through this, it's always alphabetical. If you type into the search bar, you can just type in stone, not strong, stone. It'll bring you up concrete. Why is concrete linked to stone? Well, because it's made from stone. Okay, so concrete is ground up rock. It's sand, calcium, and granite usually, and it's just rock. And then you add a little water to it, and then it gets hard. It's pretty brilliant, crazy. There's actually a couple other things in there. Some calcium. What else is in calcium? Oh, can't remember the mix of it. There's a heating agent that heats up too. So, but there's not anything that I want here. Okay, so let's change the note and try granite. And all that's in there is the granite I used last time. Oh, you don't have a granite. Oh, okay. Well, so what you're going to do is, because of the nature of it, go back to your stone. I just want you to see how the library works. This were they use as a precast stone. Now, let me explain the difference between the cast in place and the precast. Precast is done in a factory. It's heated and it's vibrated a lot, so there's no bubbles in it. So it has a look of solid. Whereas cast in place, they might vibrate by taking the blade out of a saw and then rubbing the saw on it. But that's not going to get as many bubbles out. So it has some bubbles in it, so it's a little more porous. So this just gives more of a look of stone and will work for what we're doing without it being actual concrete. Okay, so then I hit OK. And I'm going to hit OK again. I can't right now. I can't. I'm in the middle of teaching other people stuff. And then hit OK. And then now I'm just I'm in the boundary line here, okay? Now, the boundary line is what I'm going to trace around this. And if you want an angle, you can rotate these cabinets to get your 45. I should probably do that, huh? How many are have a bend in your island? A couple. You need to see how to do that then, right? You need to see it again. You can be honest. Okay. So I've got my island saved. I'm just going to close out of this for a minute. Yeah, I know. And I know. I'm going to take this end piece right here, and I'm going to rotate it. Now, I've got to keep my travel distance here, so I'm going to rotate mine out instead of in. Okay? So here's how you rotate an item. You click on the rotate tool. It's the hotkeys are RO if you want to type it in. I guess that's select. If it's selected, it'll just automatically put it where you want it. Now, notice it's in the center. I don't want to rotate it by the center. It's not what I want to do. So you can do place the rotation center, and then rotate it. I'm just going to go right here. Then that's where it's going to rotate from. So then you try and start vertically. You can start horizontally if you want. I'll do that and then rotate it right away. Just change my mind. See how that works. So let's start my rotation and then rotate it probably, I'm gonna do this one 30 degrees. Typically, they'll be like 45 degrees, 30 degrees, it can make it still work, okay? You will have a gap here in the back. I'll get you to, I'll get you on how to change that out later on how to fix that in there. So it'll be a gap right now, okay? I should probably teach you how to do it now. Nope, I got it, it's coming later, okay? Now, I'm gonna go and put this countertop on. And I got my sink floating here without it. So I'm going back into my floor tool, architecture, and floor. And I'm gonna go, still got my countertop still highlighted, so that's a plus. But I've got a problem. This floor is on the floor. It's at 0. Okay, I need you to put in there 3 feet. So it's gotta be 3 feet up. 3 feet up. Okay, so everybody's got that. The reason is your top of your cabinets are 2 foot 10.5. You got an 1.5 inch countertop. 1.5 inches plus 2 foot 10.5 is 36. 3 feet. Right? Just trust me. Okay, now here's my draw tools. I'm not using walls. This is what the walls are for. There's no walls around my island, so I can't use a wall. So I'm gonna have to draw it. And so there's a line here. If it's a plain rectangle, use the rectangle command right here. But I'm gonna trace the whole thing off. So do a line. I'm gonna grab the corner of one cabinet end. I'm just gonna start tracing out those endpoints. And I'm just gonna trace over those, just have a double bend to it. And I just trace each endpoint of the cabinets until it comes all the way back to home. Okay, and you get a nice pretty pink line, and I find out I screwed up. What do I do about that? There's a mess up there. How do I fix that? Starts with an A, not an S though. A line. If I had a candy bar, I would throw it at you. But I can't give candy bar out right now because we're in COVID mode. We're gonna get there somehow. We're gonna do a line tool. Yeah. With this tool or with this tool? Gotta use the line tool. There's no walls. This is a wall tool, so you gotta be on the line. Does that do it? Okay. That's an easy one. I do that all the time too, because usually I'm picking walls, especially for floors. But when it comes to countertops, it's a no-brainer. Now, I'm not done, okay? This is gonna be an island with a little extension, so you can sit down and eat your cereal and, you know, and bug mom to make your cookies, which she doesn't want to until she does. And hopefully you're still good at doing that. Okay? So I'm gonna go to the offset now, okay? So I switch to offset mode. The first thing I'm gonna do is switch my distance to 1 inch. Now, on the sides that are not the bar, I need the countertop to overhang the cabinets by 1 inch. So if you spill the milk because mom gets mad at you and knocks your cereal over, that's happened to you, huh? It has, huh? Then the milk's gonna drip to the floor, not all over her cabinet, so it's a little less clean, okay? So on the sides that are not the overhang, then it come in. Make sure you turn the copy option off. There's a little check mark here. You have to turn copy off. And then we're gonna go around and push all the lines out. So the little blue line should go out further. Come out, make sure you get the right side. And we just pop these guys out 1 inch. Don't go more than an inch because it's annoying. Not really. So that comes around an inch. So it should be like 3 sides of your island, 4 in my case, but it's a weird shape. When you get that done, change it to, so let's talk about the overhang. Your overhang can be between 12 and 18 inches. If you go more than that, you have to counterweight the countertop, because you guys like to jump up on the counter, right? How many of you sit on the kitchen counter? Okay, pretty common thing. People want to have as much countertop space as they can, and they try to push that to 2 feet. And what happens is they get teenagers that hop up on the counter and it goes poop, and they got to get a new kitchen. So it doesn't, the weighting, the balancing doesn't work if you go to it. Your cabinets are 2 feet, your overhang 2 feet. That means the middle where the cabinet is a fulcrum, and it just teeter-totters off. So 1 foot to 18 inches. I typically do 1 foot because that's the size of a plate. Plate's about 11 and 5/8 inches in diameter. So it works for plate really well. So I'm going to change this to 1. And you don't have to put any feet in because it defaults to feet. And again, no copy. Now the part where you want your island to be, or your bar, you offset that out. Oops. Oh, that was weird. That was really weird. Let me go start the other end. There it goes. So when you get these weird angles, you got to kind of think which way you're going. Don't panic, just redo it. It works. So now I've got my overhang here. I do have a little hole here. I'll get that fixed. I'll try to fix that as we get more detail. Okay. At this point, I'm good with this countertop. Okay. So I hit the green check mark. I go into 3D to look at what I've done. And where'd my sink go? And why is it that color? That's okay. That's just what it is. There's no sink there, right? Okay. If I go back to my floor plan, there's a sink there. Huge, huge thing to learn here. Okay. So what we're about to do is pop a hole in our cabinet, our countertop, sorry. We need a hole for the sink, but the sink hole cannot be bigger than the sink. It's got to be smaller or the sink falls through. So you got to think about how these things are put together. And if you haven't, make your dad make you fix the sink one day. And girls, that too. If your dad has not taught you yet, or your parental figure, whoever that may be, grandpa or uncle or mom, you need to get underneath your kitchen sinks and learn how to change a sink. You need to look at how to clean out the drain underneath there and connect it. It's a really important life skill. It will save you thousands of dollars in calling a plumber. It takes a screwdriver and a pair of pliers is all it takes. But have them teach you how to do that. Plumbers will charge you much more to fix a kitchen sink than any other part of the house because it's such a simple repair. Kind of a weird deal. But maybe dad plumber. Your dad is? Maintenance guy. Make sure he teaches you how to do that. It's a good life skill to have. Okay? All right, so I'm back in my plan view. I've got a countertop on there. I can't see my sink. Use your modify button, select your countertop, and this side of your ribbon is going to change, and you should see edit boundary. This occurs on roofs, walls, floors, countertops. Edit boundary is what you're looking for. So we click on edit boundary, and it turns pink again. Yay. I think it's actually magenta, but pink's easy to say. Let's solve this. Okay, now, whenever you create something using boundary lines, like a floor, like a wall, like a countertop, if you put a closed piece of geometry inside of closed geometry, do you understand what I mean by closed? The polygon all is one thing. It makes a hole. So here's my sink. I'm going to use the rectangle tool to do this because it's faster. So I click on the rectangle. Now it's going to want to try and grab all these parts of the sink. See all those little endpoints and intersections. I'm just going to make sure it's bigger than the basins, smaller than the outside. So I get in here and I try and just eyeball that in and drag that down. And it takes a little bit of work to get it, just so that you don't have any pink inside the basins of the sink. Okay, that's the gear. That's the goal. Just keep the pink on the outside of these sinks. Okay. Okay, then once you get that done, and I know you're still, oh my gosh, this is so hard. It keeps grabbing an endpoint. It does. It's a little frustrating. You'll get it. But then when you get done, it feels so satisfying. You hit check mark and you go into 3D and you got a hole, but there's no sink. Let me know where my sink went. Yes, sank. My sink sunk. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's got a sink sunk. They sink when they sunk. A sink, most of the sinks in Revit are assigned by surface plane. So when I deleted my countertop out, it went to the next horizontal plane which for me is down the floor. There's my faucet. Isn't that so sweet of it? Love it that I did that. Okay. That's going to happen to every one of you before this semester ends on something. For 3 of you, it'll be when you try and put the flat screen TV in the master bedroom and it sinks down to the basement. There are just 3 of you. It's always 3. It is always 3. And it's usually 3 guys sitting beside each other trying to make a man cave. And it's what happens. Okay. So I need to fix that. Now I can try and pick it here. If I'm lucky and I'm stable, I can get a hold of it. And then it says this option. This is a 3D edit. So I'm going to do the 3D edit, and then I go back and I'll do it the safer way. It says pick a new host. Anytime you're in 3D and it says pick a new host, that means I could put this on the side of a wall. Because once it says host, it can be horizontal or vertical. It doesn't matter. But if I'm picking a new host, then I've got to pick the countertop, and that puts my sink back where it's supposed to be. Okay. Now I'm going to undo that and I'll show you the other way of fixing that, because that can be scary. The other way is to do it 2-dimensionally. So here's my floor plan. I'm going to take my section cut and I'm going to flip it over so it's looking towards the island. And then I'm going to go back into that view. Well, okay, there's my sink is down here. If I do a window, there's my sink. See it? So I can see the little lip of it right there. Now here's what's so fun. I can use my align tool now. Modify, align, pick the top of the countertop, and pick the bottom. Oh, that's the floor. This might not be so easy. I have to do this a little. Oh, really went down deep. Wow. I have to move this up a little bit. Okay. So if you do the align tool, again, top of the countertop, bottom of the lip, that'll put it in the same place as well. Okay. So be willing to take the things you know, the edges can be lined up, and you can get those in place. All right. One more countertop. Okay, the other countertop I want to do with you real quick here is the ones that are built into your template. So when you're putting the countertop along a wall, anytime there's a wall, you must have a backsplash. The code requires it, mainly to keep food from going back there, rotting, molding, and then killing everything in the house, because that's what rotten food does. Crazy stuff that keeps you alive will kill you eventually. All right, so if you go into your architecture and your components, inside the course, so there are a couple of countertops in here. You want to make sure they're 24 inches deep. I think this is the one here, and they work just fine. They rotate around just like everything else. The double line is the backsplash. So these clock at the back. But where I'm looking, I've got an oven, I've got a range, and I've got some counters between those. I can't put this down and cover the whole thing. You don't want a stove underneath the countertop. It burns your house down. Okay? So you have to place these multiple times. So when you place these, again, remember you got to look, place it once, move your arrows if you can. Get it placed, and then I select it again. I use my arrows to move it up a little bit. I usually 4 clicks of the up arrow is an inch. It's kind of weird how that works out, but 4 clicks works out to an inch. Then on the other side, you take these arrows here and you slide it to the edge of your range or your oven. And then you place it again. Go back to component, place the next one, rotate around, stick that right where it's supposed to be. Finish that selection, enter twice. Take the arrows, slide her up. And so you're doing these in pieces. A lot of students try to do everything with one countertop. It's not how they do it. It's not how they're built. So Revit is really designed to build like it's built. You're putting everything in the same order, and you have to think that through sometimes. And then I'm going to place this one right here. And I got some gaps, I think. So mistakes of being a teacher, that's okay. Then select the arrows and slide it up. Okay, now I didn't do anything about changing the height on these. The countertops that are in the template are all set at 3 feet off the ground already. So when we made the one for the island, it was at 0. We had to raise that one up. These are already pre-established for being on a kitchen countertop. Now, if you use vanities in your kitchen by mistake, those are only 30 inches tall. They have a gap between the countertop and the cabinet. So let's take a look at 3D and see if we did everything good and nice. And we did, but I do not like the color of that granite. Okay. And so you can take a look, see how it's all detailed out, see if everything looks good to you on there. Now we're going to do the fun part. We're going to change the color of the countertops. Okay. So they give you just a minute to put those in. Okay, on those that are doing custom backsplashes, let me help you do those. We hold off on that. I want to do color on the countertop, then you'll have that for the backsplash. You basically have to make a 4-inch tall wall that is an inch thick out of the same material as your countertop at 3 feet off the ground, and then you just trace it around. So it goes really quick. I'm going to show you that right after we do color, so that I can do all in one fixing. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, now if we can take this out, and I'll put a backsplash on my island so you can see it. I got a bad internet connection right now. So. Okay, we're gonna pick the color for your countertop. And this is where it gets to be a little, kind of gets, I think it's fun. So you're going to need chrome. So I'm gonna bring up chrome. And you can really go just to Google, you know, if you know what you want to look at. So if I want granite, the problem is you type granite, you get Granite School District, takes you weird places. And you want images. And here's the problem. Granite takes over because we're on their system. So to avoid that, I just go to Home Depot. That's where I'm gonna go buy this stuff anyway, so, you know. And you gotta get off the image files. When you're doing a Home Depot search, make sure there's not an E on the end of Depot. That takes you into some scam site. So just kind of watch the spell on those. This one right here, yeah, that won't do it every time. That little E right there, see how that's spelled? So gotta kind of watch for that. Yeah, so this is the one you want. Okay, so this is their main international website. Just gonna type right here in the top, granite. You could put in, you know, countertops. I just do granite. It works just as well. It's gonna load up, and you're gonna see a whole bunch of different styles and colors. Okay, find one that you really like. I mean, make it yours. I mean, it's yours. Okay, and it's pretty close to the coloring. I think I'm gonna go with this one for this class. When you find the one you like, click on it, and it's going to become a bigger picture. Okay, you want the biggest picture you can get because that's the higher resolution. So I'll let you kind of find it. You're going to have to do the same thing next week for carpet, hardwood flooring, tile floors, paint colors. We're going to do this exact same process. So it's a lot of collecting your materials. Okay, if you want to collect those over the weekend, knock yourself out. Just remember to bring them. Okay, when you find your image, you want to right click, and this is not going to work. It's got this evaluation. See that little orange, you see that orange thing on there? That is making this really difficult to do. So I got to go in a little closer. You want to get where you can just save image as. So see save image? Save that. It needs to go in the same place you're saving all of your house plan stuff. So it's got to go into the same location because otherwise it won't stay linked to your house. Now on the name, this is Viscount White Stone Mark Granite. All I care about is white granite. So I'm just going to change the name So it's simple. Don't use that big long catalog name ever. It's too big, you won't even remember what it is. So simplify the name, then save it. Okay, and then I'm done with Home Depot for today. Okay, now we're gonna make the material. And the material is gonna be able to be used now on our countertops. To do that, if you will, go to your Manage tab. Manage tab is where we're going. We've lost some people online. They must have got bored. So did I. Okay, when you get into the Manage tab, we've used the wrench. That's where we did our temporary dimensions. We then use the material ball. Okay. So this is where you want it. If you're doing anything, this is you want to know how to do this because this is a process that's got to be done in order. So if you've got girlfriends or texting you, tell them to wait for a minute. And we want to make sure you walk through this. Even if you're not ready to do it, you should be doing it. Okay. So click on materials. It's going to load up the material library that we saw before. The difference is there's no granite in here except what I've built already, and you don't have any at all. So down at the very bottom of this list, there's a gray sphere that thresher, the dishwasher is in the specialty equipment under domestic. Sorry if I didn't catch that too quickly. Special equipment and domestic. Okay. Click this down there and hit create new material. You're making a brand new material all from scratch. It's going to come with a name that says default new material. Right click and name it what your picture name is. So this was white granite. And I do this. I'm going to come to the front of that line and I'm going to do stone hyphen. So it goes into where I can find it easily. If everything's got a different name, it's not categorized by material, it makes it hard to find it. So I know stone's in there and concrete's under stone. So now my granite's will be under stone. Okay. Then we're going to go from here for today, we're going to go to appearance. Now, we're going to adjust these appearances a little bit later on so they're more even. But right now, we're just going to get the color in. We'll tweak them a little bit later. It says no image selected. So we need to click on the image, where it says this little word here. And then you're going to go to where you've saved it. So back into, oh, where am I at? And find your white granite or whatever image you're using. And then we open that up. There's my picture, so I can see it's there. If you don't like the sphere, you can hit this little down arrow. You can change it to cube. If you want to, you can change it to a cylinder. So you just see how it's going to look as it wraps around the part you create. Okay. Then hit apply. Always hit apply first if that's an option. Then hit OK. And that's that. Okay. So that's material. So now we're going to go back into architecture, component floor, because we're in the floors. Find your floor that you made for your countertops. Where's my island? Where'd my island go? Okay, my internet kicked out and I did not get mine saved. That is not good. Oh. I just had a, yep, mine changed. Dang it. Okay, so I'll improvise. The one I made is gone. So I'm going to click on my countertop because I have no other way of getting it. The internet kicked out. Then go into edit type. Then go into edit the structure. And here is that material. Now, right now, it's the one I did before because the one we made is gone. It should say concrete. And then click on those little three dots again. And this time I'm going to go to stone because I told it where to go. There's my white granite. So I select that. I hit OK. Hit OK. Hit apply. Hit OK. And that one's now changed. Okay. And you do the same thing with your other countertops to get the right materials on them. Had I been aware of my internet kicking out so much, I would have slowed this down a little bit. But you can go in, change your countertop material. On the existing ones, you don't have a structure. You just have to go in and change the material, which is somewhat a little nicer in some cases, but you can just click those real quick. And you can, you have to work on this a little bit. You want to get those materials. Now, if it doesn't work the way you want, there's another way to get in there, okay? All right, now I said I'd create a backsplash for those that need it, and then do that real quick. And then I know it's a little bit long day. Let's see, I see you guys again Monday. This is gonna be, we'll start out with a working lab at first of class again, and then probably give you, will 45 minutes work for Monday? Okay, how about 20 minutes? I hear 10. You guys do not auction very well at all. Do not go to auction ever, okay? All right, I'm gonna just make a quick little backsplash here. I'm gonna do that in the first floor plan. Now, again, I'm just gonna put it here on the island because it's the only one I have right now that doesn't have a backsplash. So to make a custom backsplash, and again, I prefer to draw all my countertops typically because I have more control over it, okay? And then this is what I would do. I'd go into the wall tool this time. I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna find any basic generic wall because you're gonna change the crud out of it, okay? So like this generic 4-inch works. And then edit the type, and then duplicate it, and then give the name. In this case, it'll be kitchen backsplash. Your kitchen backsplash is the default for almost all backsplashes is 4 inches. That's the width of your palm. You can go to whatever size you want. And sometimes in bathrooms, we make them 2 inches. So you want to have a one with different sizes. So I'm going to do this with a 4-inch backsplash. So I put the size in there in the name, so I don't have to keep guessing at what I'm picking. The more detail-oriented you become, the better your designs will become, and the better your template will become. So I hit kitchen 4-inch backsplash. Then I go edit the type, and really all I'm doing is changing the dang width of the thing. So the width is going to be 1 inch. That's it. The category for material in here, if I'm just going to get my white stone granite, because it's going to be made out of granite. If it's going to be made out of marble, use marble. But, you know, pick the material you're making out of it. That's why we made the material. Now the sample height right here says 20 feet. Okay, this is what your walls default to. This one I'm going to make 4 inches. Because there's no point in fighting and doing lots of extra changes if it's going to always be that. If I said it's a 4-inch backsplash, I'm going to make it a 4-inch backsplash. Okay, so then I hit OK. And at this point, I have to hit OK again. And then over here on the side, you want to make sure on the first floor, on the offset, make that 3 feet. So you're up 3 feet in the air off the base offset. Okay, just like we did when we raised the countertop up. And again, this is a lot easier than what is sometimes done. So now I'm going to use the line tool. I'm going to pick the edge of my countertop, zoom up on it so you can see which side it is. And again, you can flip it with your space bar and then just trace where you want that countertop backsplash to be. And that puts that 4-inch backsplash on. So when I go into 3D, make sure it's right. Whoa, something's not right in Denmark. What did I do? I must put 4 feet in, I think. Oh, I'm connected right here. So right now it's doing default height of 2'10". I just need to change that back to 4 inches, not 4 feet. Oh my gosh, this day is crazy. and apply that. There it is. And then I can use the match properties and fix the others. But backsplashes are pretty quick and easy. Yeah, but that, and I like to custom them. They're just, because then if I decide, the client says they want, well, we really like that color of stone. Can we go all the way up to the back of the cabinets? Sure, that's 18 inches. So I click on that and I change it from 4 inches to 1.5 feet. And now I got the backsplash for the whole wall. Okay, now the reason I had you guys do the countertops today and not the upper cabinets, and I'm going to go into the section to show this. That one section. Put my view around again. Click on the right item to do good. Okay, what you're looking at here is the distance from the, and this is really important because on Monday, you can start putting all these upper cabinets in, okay? From the top of the countertop to the bottom of the cabinets on the wall is between 12 and 18 inches. You're better off at 18 inches. If your family has a KitchenAid mixer, it will not fit under a 12-inch gap. So 18 has become kind of the standard, okay? The top of your cabinets are 4 feet above that. Now, if you've got higher walls, you can go taller, but that's 7 feet. And that's about the maximum reach that most people have. So keep in mind what you're doing. Use your sections as you're working on these, okay? All right, kitchen design 101. And that's the, for you guys, we're gonna do, on Monday, we're gonna do wall paint, cabinet colors, and floor coloring. So it's gonna be a very, you wanna get as much done as you can. I will give you as much time as you need at the first of class on Monday. And then once there's down to like 2 people who aren't done, then we'll move on. Okay. So kind of, that's my cut line. Okay. So you want to get all your cabinets in if you can, so you get them all colored right. And so what's going to happen then is you're going to be able to change the color to the wood you want your cabinets to be, or the paint color, versus the gray ugly thing. And that's kind of what we're looking at doing. So it's a lot better to see an oak cabinet than a plastic thing. Okay. All right, those who are online, that's your marching orders. Good luck. Let me know if you have questions. If you need to Zoom in tomorrow, send me an email at what time, and I'll have the Zoom room open if you need one-on-one help. And that's the way Fridays go. Same for all of you if you want Zoom time, if you want to come in tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Friday? Yeah. If you want to come in, you're welcome to come in. Just let me know when you're coming so I'm not, bailing somebody else out, and we'll be good. Usually that's for the teacher. Apparently teachers can't do PowerPoints anymore. All right, I'm going to stop this record here.